Hey guys, got Kyle here. We're gonna be doing a interview because he recently bought a house. So, full disclaimer, we didn't work together in this transaction, so he doesn't have to answer properly, or I didn't direct him how to answer. So you're gonna get the good stuff. So, Kyle, tell us just a little bit about yourself. Just quick background.
Yeah, I grew up in the Valley, lived here pretty much my whole life, and then my wife and I just recently closed on our first house back in April. So kind of moving into the transition of being a homeowner and all the responsibilities that come with that. So I went a little bit, I guess I skipped a lot. I went to Bridgewater College, got a degree in education, and then what I do for a living now is I'm a certified financial planner.
Perfect.
So I work with people with financial advice.
Perfect. And we'll have to actually interview you for that as well, if it works out. So, first question would be, what made you decide it was time to buy a home?
Yeah, for my wife and I think it had become a necessity. We had been living in a 2-bedroom apartment, and we wanted to see what the market looked like. It was really hard to find something in our price range, but we kind of just got to the point where we had to move, whether it be renting or buying. And for us, and the way that we want to own something. We don't want to just be renting our whole lives. We found something in our price range, and that's kind of what precipitated the process to go through and buying the home.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And were you renting before?
We were, yeah. So we had gotten our rental back in 2020. It was great price. It was almost price locked. Mm-hmm. So we had really good rent compared to what the market in Harrisonburg was doing. But we have 2 kids. So it was a 2-bedroom apartment with 2 kids, and it was just starting to get a little bit claustrophobic.
Right.
In our apartment.
Have you considered renting and something a little bit bigger compared to buying?
We had. The lowest one we found that would have fit us was about $1,200 a month, mm-hmm. and that was just a buddy giving me a good rate on a house that he
Always
had.
Good.
It's good to know people for sure.
That's right.
But if I'm looking at a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Harrisonburg, it's like $1,900 a month, like minimum. And we're like, well, if we're going to spend that kind of money, we might as well pay $200 more a month and own it.
Right.
And that was kind of the process of deciding whether or not we should rent.
So that kind of what tipped the scale for you. You looked at the rental market and you said, well, it's only going to be a few hundred more to purchase
exactly.
in the Valley.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. What was your biggest fear of buying or like going into the process? Like, did you have something you were afraid of?
Not necessarily afraid of. I had kind of gotten tired of the process. We had been going through it for a while, and we had multiple offers rejected over the course of a couple years.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so at heart, I tend to be a little bit more pessimistic. I like to say I'm realistic, but we had been through several processes, and it was rejection after rejection. And for me, I can kind of shrug it off and move on with my life. But when my wife starts to envision herself living in the home and raising our kids in it, it took a little bit longer for her, and that was becoming a hard thing for me to manage, because I hated seeing that disappointment, mainly for her. And so the main thing I was afraid of is just getting another rejection and having to go through that whole cycle again.
That makes sense. How many offers have you guys put in total?
We viewed, off the top of my head, I could think of 14 properties that we viewed over the course of the last 4 years. And then we put in offers on probably half of them.
Okay.
About for 6 or 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
So over 4 years, so you guys started 2021.
Yes.
When everything was crazy.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Our first pre-qualification letter was for 3%. And I think this was kind of the not being educated on the process, is that for a first-time home buyer, you don't need a whole lot down.
Right.
And I was so concerned about the financial aspect of it, of the down payment, the housing ratio cost, like how much is this going to be on my gross income and all that kind of stuff. And we didn't have quite the down payment that I felt was right. So we waited. We'll wait until December, January of 2022. and we all know how rates hiked overnight, and we kind of got
skyrocketed.
stuck.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's been unfortunate.
That sucks. That really does. What loan program did you get?
We went through 30-year fixed through Alcova.
Also just conventional?
Yeah, conventional.
Oh, beautiful. Okay.
Yeah,
That makes
pretty
sense.
straightforward, easy.
Gotcha. Okay. And when you were choosing a lender to work with, when you started the process, what were your, what are you looking for in a lender?
Having even been through the process, I don't know if I fully understand what I'm looking for. I just knew I needed someone that would proactively communicate with me.
Right.
And I knew more about mortgage than I did, which obviously almost any mortgage lender is going to know more about mortgage than I did. And I grew up and went to college actually with David Bates.
Okay, so he was your mortgage broker. Shout out to David Bates.
Yeah, I want to use people that I know if I can. Sorry, I didn't use you. We were already under contract with another realtor.
That's totally fine.
And so I had met with him several times over the years, and he is very knowledgeable. So I figured, well, let's give this to David and see what he can do. And he did a great job.
He does a good job. As much shout out as I can give to David, he's really good.
Yes.
He took me out of couple jams already.
Good.
He's really good. Perfect. So you said it took you 4 years. What were your must-haves and good to have in the home? Like when you started to look.
Well, yeah, when I started to look was a whole lot different than when 4 years later.
Perfect.
When we started to look, we wanted to have a great backyard, not a whole lot of fixing up to do, couple bedrooms extra so that we could have either an office or grow into the space a bit. I wanted kind of like a man cave, either a shed or a garage somewhere where I could go. My wife was really looking for just like land that was fenced in, which is hard to find in Rockingham County right now. And then like a kitchen that could host. We really wanted to get a house that could host people. That was then. If 4 years later, it was like, just get us into a house.
Gotcha.
It can be a double wide. But thankfully, we found most of the things that we wanted to have in a home.
Okay.
In our price range. So it really did work out.
What was your price range? And did it change from
it did
when you
change.
started? Okay.
Yeah, so I was making half of what I'm making now back in 2021, but our pre-qualification was $70,000 more in 2021 because of the rates.
Because of the rate. That is so crazy.
It was brutal. So we decided to stick in the 250 to 270 range.
Okay.
Which, not knowing that is the hottest market right now in this area. Like those pieces of real estate move really, really quickly. And that was part of the reason why so many rejection letters or offers were being rejected.
Were you beat mostly by cash, you think?
Yeah. Yeah, we
a lot of cash in the area.
For a few, we offered a couple thousand over asking, and then we get back later a month. We get rejected, and a month later it comes out that we got beat out by a cash buyer that put $50,000 over asking.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like, how can we beat that?
Yeah, it's like, well, we can do that.
There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah.
How did the negotiation process look for you guys? Did you guys negotiate on the last home that you did?
We did, yeah. So we looked at it first day on market, and then there was an open house that was coming on that weekend. Mm-hmm. So I knew that there was going to be more offers coming in. So we wanted to be at least the first offer to try to get our name up there as soon as possible. So we offered asking, but we did something that I don't know I would recommend or not. We asked for closing costs to be covered.
Okay.
And so
how did you ask for that? Did you ask for it as a percentage, or did you just say, hey, all my closing costs?
Yeah, all my closing costs.
Got it. Okay, that makes
because
sense.
we knew that with where the price, we offered $260 on it originally, and that was like right in the middle.
What was it listed at?
$260.
$260.
Yeah, so we offered asking.
Got it.
Yeah. Perfect. And that was with closing costs, all of our money would have been gone.
Gotcha.
So we would have been house poor right off the bat, and I did not want that. So I wanted to try to protect myself on that regard. And our realtor was fine with it. Their realtor was like, I'll offer it to them. But we could get the sense that they weren't too gung-ho about the offer. So before the open house, I was like, okay, let's renegotiate. Well, it's never good to negotiate against yourself, but it actually worked in our favor this time. Is I kind of estimated closing costs to be around $8,000, about 3% of what the loan was.
Yep.
And so we offered $8,000 over asking, but then we asked for closing costs. And so it nets out for the seller the same amount, and it helps us out on the buyer's end, and they accepted it almost right away.
Right.
And that was really good because about 2 hours later, they had gotten 2 more offers from the open house.
Wow.
So we were really thankful that we had negotiated it against ourselves a bit.
That is so awesome. Would you say you would do something differently next time you're purchasing a house?
I think, like, for what it was, we did everything that we could as well as we could. Asking for closing costs was risky because I knew it could be rejected, but I wanted to protect myself. There were some things during the course of the closing process that came up with some things on our inspection report that we needed. And that was a little bit tricky to navigate with the seller. They didn't want to do a whole lot. But thankfully, we were able to get them to fix some of the things that needed to get fixed. But there were some things that they just put their foot down, which I understand. But I wish I would have been maybe a little bit more like adamant about fixing some certain things, because now it's my problem.
Right, of course.
So.
And did you ask them to fix it, or did you ask for credit?
I asked them to fix it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it was all electrical issues. And that was the main reason. So the electrical box in the house, it's built in the 1950s. So it's an older home, which is going to obviously have its own character and dings and all that kind of stuff. So you can't negotiate everything get fixed. Right. But the electrical system was shot. Like our home inspector said that it was close to having an electrical fire because of how bad it was. So we were like, we need electrical systems to be replaced, and there's an outbuilding that didn't have electric to it, but it had been run, but it just didn't work anymore. So we wanted to negotiate for that. And so they fixed the electrical panel, but they would not fix the outbuilding.
That makes sense.
And that was where I wish I would have put my foot down a little bit more, but it is what it is.
Right, of course. That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, bonus questions.
Okay.
What is your favorite thing about the house?
Ooh. We do not have to tiptoe around anymore. That's the big thing. Our room is not also our baby's room. You know, each of our kids have their own rooms now.
I love that.
We can walk around and feel like, we're not going to wake up a baby if we go into our room. Our backyard, we have about half an acre, fully fenced.
Awesome.
And so that was like the big appeal. Like, we have a backyard that's great, and our 2-year-old can just run around and have time of her life in it. That's been the most enjoyable aspect of being a homeowner so far, is just seeing my family kind of build a home. You know, it's not just a house that we're living in, but it's something that we're going to put roots into over time. That's been really fulfilling to see.
Love that. Is there any things that, like, on the other hand, that you like, I absolutely hate this now? Like, at first I thought it would be fine or great. Yeah. But now it's like, no.
Yeah. Oh, yes. There's a countless list. So I'm very particular.
Okay.
So that's self-described, and also my wife tells me all the time. And so when you go look through a property, everything looks great. Right. Like, there's nothing wrong. Everything is staged. It looks perfect. But what I wish I would have done during the process is just like sat in the corner of the living room and just like close my eyes, let all of like the nerves and excitement fade, and be like, okay, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. We need to fix that, because that's what happens once you close is, okay, now you're going to find a lot of things that you want to fix. And, you know, the floors are squeaky. You know, there's no electric to the outbuilding. The yard is like potholes everywhere. And so like, I want a nice yard. And so it's just a lot of like laundry list of things to do, and we'll check them off slowly. Not a lot of them are high priority. Right. But
and those are
nice to have.
Those are the hardest ones.
Yeah.
I've patched some holes in my house and I still haven't painted them. And that was like 2 months ago. I mean, my wife hasn't been
You're halfway
reminding me
there.
about it.
Halfway
You know, I keep on telling myself it's going to be a rental in the
Yeah,
future.
and the hard part is I'm not super handy, you know.
Okay.
You know, so I'm learning and I'm using YouTube to learn about handyman skills and stuff like that. Like I just replaced a leaking faucet, and I feel really good about
Wow.
that. But there are so many things that I just know are outside of my skill set. So we're leaving those be for now.
Very smart. Sometimes consult someone. I was replacing a node rod on a water heater
Yeah.
before, and they said to drain it. So I drained it. I was like, I'm not gonna open it from the bottom. Like, that's stupid. Why would I do that? So I just opened one of the faucets and closed it, you know, to drain it. It's on top, so I was unscrewing it. The water just started going
Pressure
everywhere because there's a bunch of pressure.
Yeah, and that's actually on the list of things that are outside of my skill sets.
Yeah,
we need to fix that too in our house.
Yeah, that's something for you to just do a little bit more research than I did.
It's good to know.
I got and there was no one in the house. Like it was just me. Like my wife wasn't even home. So good thing I had a pan under the water heater.
Yeah.
So it like caught most of the water and everything was fine. But like I got scared. Like it was really really close to just flooding the whole thing.
Oh man.
So
lesson learned.
Thanks so much for coming, Kyle.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thanks
Appreciate it.
Time. Well, that's all I got for you guys. For more content, subscribe to the channel and follow me on social media. See ya.